What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Gamer Credits. This is going to be Season 2, Level 4. Let's introduce the players. Player 1, BP.
Yo, kid, what's going on?
Just a terrific Thursday.
Hey, man, that's what I wanted to hear, man.
Yes,
So we
sir.
dropping
Yes,
dates. We
sir.
dropping days of the week now. Okay.
Or is it even really Thursday? Who knows?
Time is an illusion.
Great save there, buddy.
Ooh.
Great save.
You know, in the multiverse, maybe it's Sunday. Ooh.
Somebody's auditioning for the MCU multiverse.
Hey, man.
Oh yeah, this is a spoiler-free show, so don't worry. 'Cause I can see people already signing off. Like, oh no, I haven't seen the movie yet.
I mean,
know, it's
it's
not
in
a-
the title, the multiverse. So I don't know how spoilery that could be,
You know,
but
it's not.
sure.
You know, it's not a spoiler. How much
No,
money that movie made?
Yeah. It's not done
What?
yet. It is not
Oh
done
no, it
yet.
ain't. No, it ain't. Speaking of not done yet, you hear player 2 in the background. It's Sleepyhead Captain Starchild.
Nice
How's
touch.
it going, everybody? That's all I got.
That's it. All right, okay. Short and sweet.
Everybody in like us or the audience.
Both.
Nice. Okay. See, there you
I
go.
never know with him. He always says that. I'm like, is he talking to us? Is he talking to the listeners? Like, hey, who's he
Hey,
talking to?
Hey, I
when I
dig it,
say
man.
when I say everybody, that includes everybody. So yeah.
Hey, I dig it. That's part of the mystique.
It's something, all right.
Oh yeah, I also have a theory on the movie, by the way, but I can't say on the show. But it's a good one. So after the show, remind me to tell y'all.
Okay.
All right. All right.
And then, of
If he's still
course,
awake, we'll hear about it.
Oh
oh
yeah.
God, oh jeez.
Anyway, my bad. Go ahead, kid.
Of course, player 3 is your boy Kid Dream. So, before we get into these topics today, does anybody have a gaming moment of the week?
Mm, should I complain about my PS5 experience, or should I just leave that alone?
That technically could be a gaming moment. Why not?
All right, I'll keep it short. So I was gifted a PS5 that had a certain technical issue to it. So I knew that once I got it, I would have to send it in for a warranty repair. Got it repaired, got it sent back into me to find out that they fixed one thing to maybe have broken something else. So now certain games may run, but other games won't. And all the troubleshooting steps that's online and what was told to me by Sony technicians, none of this stuff works. So I say all that to say this. Um, I have my hopes up high for wanting or having a PS5 just to have it all and like an egg in my face right now. It's not the best feeling at all, knowing that I have been with Sony throughout most of all their consoles from 2 all the way to 5 to could say I never had a bad experience until now. And for it to be the 5 where there's a very real shortage on that console, and or the
Yes.
yeah, there's third party sellers trying to sell the console for triple the price. It's very hard to get this console. So to have your hands on one and it to be a limit, it's a little stressful, I say the least. But that's first world problems, so I don't want to make it too much about me. But I just want to just vent, basically. Sony has a lot of explaining to do because when I went online to look at some of the troubleshooting steps, there's a lot of people having the same issue. So yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
and I'll say that does suck for you, Star, because I know we kind of went into the conversation. I know I kind of semi teased you a little bit about the whole issue of technology that you have and everything. Well, not none of your fault, but it's just so crazy that everything like that always happens. But you know, I want to put out there for those who kind of would hear all that and just be like, well, it's clearly something you messed up. It's like kind of put yourself in the shoes of what he's going through. And I mean, he's right. It's kind of unacceptable that given all the different troubleshooting tips that were put out there, he tried everything and it's still not working. And keep in mind, this is something that has happened once he got the console back from Sony. So that's crazy. Like, that's just something I want to call out real quick and be like, that's really, I mean, nobody's perfect. Companies mess up too, but I mean, that's just, to me, that was really unacceptable for this man to wait the time that he waited and then for it to still be messed up.
Yeah,
So I feel you on that, Star. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. So technically not a gaming moment because I technically don't have access to some of the games I like to play. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just tragic.
So
It is. It really is messed up.
what's going
So
on with you, Brian? Oh, BP. Sorry.
that's
Sorry.
all good.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I might have to change my name anyway. Bride PP. That we'll go with that. Nah. Um. So I got two things. Just not to hold up enough too much time. The first gaming moment is dealing with playing Overcooked. With my youngest son. We're still steadily advancing. I think we got to the chapter 5-2. So I think we're close. Hopefully, somebody can maybe tell me this later that we're closing in on beating the game. And it's getting really hectic. It introduces a lot of elements. I'm sure there's some who are familiar with the game, but if not, it's basically a game where you have you're playing the chefs, and your job is to put together orders from like ingredients, like chopping up tomatoes and boiling onions and I think rice. I can't remember what the item is, and then just preparing a plate and send it to putting it out for customers and everything that's happening in real time. There's like different challenges where you have like platforms that are missing. You're cooking in the air and like an air balloon or something like that. It's fun. It's very panic inducing. Uh, so I can see how people. I think, Kid, you said off air that you would get anxiety from the game.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, so there's definitely plenty of that, but it's still really really fun, and I just feel like it's surprisingly fun, because I looked and I didn't think much of it at first, but once you play it, it's really addictive. So I do recommend it for anybody who hasn't tried it out yet, and that's on Game Pass, so that's a bonus
Nice,
there.
nice.
And the second thing, real quick, actually has to do with me and Star being in GTA Online for PS5 because that was the one thing he was able to get working. And I'm sorry to do this to you, Star, but I had to point out how funny this was when we were actually doing a contract mission, and the contract mission had us going around robbing, I think, 6 different banking locations in GTA Online. I'm going to stress that again so people don't think we're actually robbing places. Uh, so, but we did that, and the funny thing is, was I had Star go in and take all the money from the bank. The only thing I remember hearing was him complaining about the interior of the banks and going on about like it was almost like this man was really auditing the bank. Like, why do y'all have the money just laid out on this table? Like, this should not be. Like, I should not be able to just take all the money up like that. And I just thought that was hilarious.
It should not be that easy, people. I don't want this. I don't want the game to set this type of impression to people. Like, hey, you know what? It looks pretty easy to rob a bank. We should just do this in real life now. No, this game is
True.
not training you to do anything in real life.
Not that we would want it to. I'm just gonna throw that
Yeah,
out there too, by the way.
yeah.
But
God dang.
but yeah, we would definitely not want nobody to find out the hard way that this is just games, guys. Like this, you can't this kind of stuff in real life can't happen like that. So
Absolutely
please get
not.
that out your head.
Yes. It's not real. Don't attempt
But
it at home.
but I thought that was just funny to share because I just remember thinking in my head like, man, we're here trying to get away from these cops. I'm trying to hold it down while he's getting the money, and I just keep hearing him like, man, this is too easy. Like, what's really happening right now? I just thought it
Hey,
was funny.
to all the listeners, don't let BP fool you. He was not struggling holding back those police officers at all.
Hey, that's beside the point. We were on the time schedule, sir.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny. But yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Kid?
Oh man, oh man.
Oh,
Just when I thought I was done, they pulled me back in. Uh so I think it end of last week, they added a new game to Game Pass.
I know where this is going.
2K22.
But I
One of
did
my
not know where this was going. Oh,
one
Oh,
of
you
my
did.
worst enemies. I have a love-hate relationship with the 2K franchise. Because a couple years ago they added, I think it was like 2K19 to Game Pass, and so I ended up playing it.
Mm,
And that's the first time playing 2K in like years. Because I've never been big into the sports games, and so um, I think since 19 they've been adding it to Game Pass over time. And so of course, finally they added 22, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, something new to play. So, just like an addict, I went back to it, played it, and it always gets me at the whole my player, my career, whatever, because I
right.
always like the idea of like making a character, starting out as a rookie, and then like joining the Hall of Fame and like being this top player. But God, they push you towards the premium currency VC. Oh
Mm.
my goodness. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, to be fair, I'm trash at the game. So I'm sure if I was better, it wouldn't be as bad. I'm trash at the game. But like it's just so frustrating because you just start out so bad and it just the VC it takes so much and you get so
Mhm.
little for the games. It's just like, oh, you made a shot. That's 3 VC. Oh, but to
Mm,
upgrade your VC, that'll be about 5,000. It's like, what?
right.
What?
Do the math. You gotta
Yeah.
do a lot of shots. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, you get a quote unquote salary at the end of the game, and you get the VC, as you progress further in trade and you can renegotiate and stuff like that. So you can get more, but oh man, but it's still kind of fun.
So despite all that, it still has some fun tendencies to it.
I mean, just mainly because it's on Game Pass. If I
Yeah.
went out and spent $60 on this game,
That'd
I
be a
would be
different story.
pissed. Yeah, I'd
Right.
be pissed. But the fact that all I did was just download it and just play it here and there, it's still frustrating. I don't want to forgive 2K, but it's a lot more bearable.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Yeah, it's disappointing that it seems to be kind of continually heading that direction where it has like the VC,
Yeah,
uh, mechanics to it, like you said, and then like just thinking back when you mentioned all that, I was thinking back to playing. I think the last one was 2K20 that I played, and how frustrated I was with you know, the shots that I would take, where it's like I'm wide open and I'd be like 6, 7 shots in a row I would have missed it, every single time, and I'm like, wait a minute, I made a shooter, like
yeah,
I don't get
yeah.
it. Yeah, so I can feel you on that.
It's like because I'm the same way. I make a shooter. That's what I put all my points into. That's how I design my character. And it's like
Hmm.
I understand. Fine, I can't make every single shot. Like that'd be boring. I understand that, but it's like, why am I missing like 95% of these shots? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's messed up.
it's in
Yeah, man.
speaking
I
of
think that.
interesting.
Oh, I was going to say one more thing. I think each
All
of
right.
our gaming moments was more of a complaint. So we have to do one type of gaming moment where we can kind of say it was fun. Is there any gaming moments that were fun for
Hey,
anybody
hey,
for
man,
this week?
actually, arguably mine was all fun. I mean, I got to
Okay.
laugh at
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
complaining
You
about the
did
banks
say, yeah, you did say
and Overcooked
overcooked.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Overcooked too. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Cool. So we did
Well,
have one wholesome moment. So cool. All right.
well, I mean,
I have one for kid, but I don't know if he would want me to spoil it.
Oh.
It's the one
oh,
that you text
what?
earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you want to hold it or not.
well, real quick, I will say my moment was kind of positive. I complained about the game, but it is still fun. I am still
Yeah,
playing it, so.
Okay.
there you go.
Okay.
uh, but yeah, what BP is alluding to, I kind of uh, I went ahead and just uh I don't even remember the saying. I went ahead and bought it. Tiny Tina's.
There it
Okay.
is. Yep. So the pressure is on, ladies and gentlemen. You
It
may have
is.
to.
It'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna have to. I've been thinking about it. Like now I'm gonna have to do it.
Although I will say quick rant, because there's like 3 editions of the game. There's the PS4, Xbox One version, then there's the next gen version, so the PS5 version. I think it's called Next Level Edition, and then there's the PS5 Chaotic Edition or whatever. And so I was like, as I was reading into it, I was like, "What is the Next Level Edition?" Basically, what it is you get like some DLC pack, but you also get the PS5 improvements. And I was like, "That's weird. I mean, don't if I just buy the PS4 version, I get that by default?" So I
Regardless, yeah.
looked into it. No, I looked into it. If you buy the PS4 version, you get the PS4 version. You do not. It does not have any PS5 improvement. You have to pay extra for that.
Oh yeah,
So
man.
I was pissed about that. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So granted, thankfully it was on sale. So typically, I think the next level edition is like $70. I was able to pick it up for 55. Um,
Okay.
but I was a little irritated with that. I was like, that is frustrating that they are locking that behind, at
Hmm.
a higher tier. Like that was frustrating. So,
It,
but
it, it makes sense. Speak not no. Let me take that back. It doesn't really
I'm
make
about to
sense,
say,
but they have been putting like a timeline on a lot of the games. Like even Mortal Kombat 11, I think in the beginning when the PS5 came out and they created the PS5 version of that game. it was free for you to upgrade to that PS5 format, but I think they have it where it was a limited time only. Maybe they haven't went on that, or they stuck with just making it free. But a lot of companies was talking about making it limited time to give you a chance to upgrade to the PS5 version. But then a lot of them was like, after this certain amount of time, you have to pay for that change. So I heard that like companies were doing that regardless.
Yeah, that was initial, like with like EA, for example, when they were doing that with like Madden.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think like that was just honestly. I mean, I don't know what that was, to be honest with you, because I think most of us knew that wasn't gonna hang around for long. Like they weren't gonna stick with that kind of model.
but they any
I
way they
think that
can
was.
squeeze that money out of us. I mean, so
Mhm.
we can't be surprised. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
Surprised, no. Disappointed, yes.
yeah.
yeah. So
But on to the topics, right?
All right.
No, there was no comments. I was like, all right, cool,
Oh,
cool.
I thought you were just saying that as a build up, like thought you were building up the tension. It's like on to the topics, give them a pause moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there was actually some pause this past weekend for a lot of Xbox players because Xbox services were down for quite a while actually, and a lot of people were not able to excuse me, oh god, access digital games that they purchased as well as Game Pass due
Mm,
to DRM.
yeah,
Yep. It was
that
pretty
DRM thing. Yeah.
it was a mess, man. It was quite a mess.
Yeah,
And I
people
think
were not
from
happy.
well, I think some people still kind of going through it too, right? Or did they ever fully fix it? I think they're still going through it. Some people, like a few people.
Yeah, there might be a few little sporadic cases here and there, but I think a lot of it was just kind of through the weekend. But yeah, I know
Mhm.
they were coming out saying they fixed it, and then like you mentioned earlier, people were saying, "Hey, no, it's still not working for me."
Yeah, which is crazy, like the
They,
fact that they
they
just kept doing that.
Yeah, they knew it wasn't fixed, but I think that they had to create some type of public image of, oh, it's fixed. Don't worry about things. In the background, they're still running around with their heads cut off and trying to figure out how to fix it. But yeah, they
Right.
shouldn't be trying to lie to the public just to try to save face. They should just be honest and just, people will support you, be honest.
Yeah. Yes, it does create an interesting thought behind that, though. At least from what I was just thinking about is, like you said, it's never a good idea to lie out in the public, but it just kind of makes me wonder with companies like this that are so big, do they just kind of look at it as like whatever, people, we still have our loyal followers who's, even if we do say these things or lie, it's not really going to damage anything too much, or do they look at it as a way of saying, hey, well, we honestly thought we did fix it or a majority of it, but there were still issues to be had, and we just wanted to come out and just communicate that it should be good to go for a lot of players that would be fixed, on their end would have it fixed, and without trying to disregard the other people who still having issues. So it was just I don't know, it's just something makes me very curious about their approach to that.
Because,
Because
I
it can be
mean,
hard. Go ahead.
oh, no, I thought you finished, kid.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say it because it can be hard because you could they might think that okay, yeah, this should fix hopefully everybody, but then it's technology, man. It's just so sporadic, and I know just like from PC gaming, I've seen so many blogs and forums and stuff and posts uh where somebody will say, oh yeah, this game works perfectly on my machine, and then somebody else will say, I can't even launch the game, and it's just with all the different specs and technology and internet and just everything out there, it's just so many possibilities. So it can be tough. It can be real tough.
It's
Right.
just to me a bad, how you say it, it's a bad program. Um, I, I don't know if there's any other options to fight against piracy, but I've been hearing issues about DRMs for years.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's almost like, is this the only option they have or the cheapest option? Like I don't really know because it got to be some better options out there than that.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
I'll say this when it comes to digital games that you bought. Yeah, I agree. They need to they got to fix that. It's like if you bought it digitally, they should have some kind of way that even if you don't have internet or their services are down, you should still be access. You should still be able to access the games that you bought. Like that's kind of excusable, and that should hopefully be addressed and fixed. Hopefully, I say where it gets tricky. is with the Game Pass.
Mhm.
Um, that's where it gets a little more tricky when either their services are down or even vice versa. Because like for me, this past weekend, I actually didn't have Wi-Fi for a little bit on Sunday, and
Mhm.
because I didn't have Wi-Fi, I couldn't access Game Pass, even single player games.
Wow.
So I know with that it gets a little more tricky because it's like how do you still have that service and make sure that somebody doesn't pay for it once and then shuts off internet and then now just has access to all these games forever. That's where it gets a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and the funny thing I do find out of this though is that you have both PlayStation and Nintendo that don't that does not face this kind of issue, right?
Yeah.
At least now, and it's funny because both of those companies they're not exactly the most they don't exactly have the most friendliest approach to game preservation.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious that the one company that does actually have a good form of game preservation would suffer from something this crazy with the DRM issue.
It is
They need to
interesting.
work on
Yeah.
something else.
I
I
just
don't
thought that
know
was
what that
funny.
something else is, but
Nice. You don't want to give me any suggestions?
I mean, if they want to pay me for my ideas, I'll be
Nice.
happy. I'll be happy
That's
to
Nice.
you
give
know
them
what?
some.
I'm not mad at that. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
I'm
Got
not
to
gonna
attach
say
a
I'm
price
not gonna
tag.
save them, and then they're gonna send me some dollars. No.
Yeah, because they'll take that idea. You're right. Microsoft has a
Mhm.
history of that.
Yes,
I
sir.
see it. I see any of that money. So, um, and there was something else I was just thinking about looking at this stuff. Oh, another thing that this another thing that the other thing that this teaches me is that we're definitely still not ready for any form of cloud gaming. Like,
Oh, good
Oh
I mean,
point.
we're
no.
nowhere close to it, man. Not with these issues. And like Kid said earlier, it's so complicated. The technology and the internet. Because it's not exactly the most stable thing out there still. So
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, aren't we
Oh
supposed to
guys.
be moving over to Internet point two at some point or 2.0?
maybe. I mean, you probably would know more than we would.
I mean, yeah, they've been talking
Do I got
about
to pay
it,
you?
and
Do I
it's,
got to pay
it's
you to get that that intel?
nah, it's been talked about. It's a 2.0 internet that apparently we are moving over to. That should make it a lot easier for Bluetooth communications and all that other stuff. So yeah, I think that if the technology of the internet gets upgraded, then DRM might work a lot better. But for right now, yeah, America's behind. Is what I was getting at. So.
But since you said that DRM would get a lot better. I wonder if the question should that should exist about that is, are we gonna be okay with it getting better, or do we just want to get something different entirely? Because DRM can be abused and used as a form of control that most people wouldn't want to sign up for. You know what I mean? Or they
Yeah.
feel like they would get duped into it.
But if you have no choice to play the
Right.
game, then it is what it is.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah, I see your point with that.
I just thought about that because you brought it up earlier about like got to be a different solution, outside of DRM that would be reasonable for companies to implement that would protect them, but also allow us the access that we paid for. So I just started thinking like, yeah, I mean, is the future still in DRM, improvement, or is it just something else entirely? Maybe something that can come from this Internet 2.0 that you mentioned, or even like a 5G thing that they're pushing towards. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they spent a lot of money for the license of this thing, so they're gonna have to use it until they see the cost was so.
Gotcha.
Guys, quick side note. Tiny Tina's is shipped.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Oh,
So
I love that, man. An update in real time.
It's on track to be here tomorrow sometime.
Yes,
Hey.
indeed. Okay.
it will be raining tomorrow, so maybe it'll be a delay, maybe not.
Oh,
Amazon don't play.
They do play. They play
they
with me
do
a
Uh,
play
lot.
sometimes. I'm with Star on that. They can, yeah. Especially me. I don't know about y'all, but
Sometimes
I'll get a
does.
message like, "Hey, we're gonna get it to you around this time," and then it's like you don't hear nothing
Nothing.
else, and then the next day, "Oh, hey, we're gonna get it to you today. We're just kidding."
Yep, that had to happen a couple times.
Yeah. So
But you know, that BP, I'm gonna skip around a little bit with the topics, but
yeah.
since we're kind of already talking about Xbox, that kind of brings us to a recent development that kind of came out because unfortunately slash fortunately we found out recently that Xbox and Bethesda's their big title Starfield has been delayed until next year. That and along with their new other new game that Arcane was working on. What was it? Redfall was the
I
name?
want to say it's Redfall, yeah.
Yeah, that just got delayed to early next year as well. So as it stands right now, it looks like Xbox won't have any new releases coming out this year. And so I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think as much as I hate
Huh?
delays huh?
Huh? I'm just saying, huh? I mean, I'm listening though.
I mean, listen, as much as I hate delays, I want the game, I want it now, I want to play it. I hate waiting, it sucks. I do understand that. Not only is there a lot going on in the world, global pandemic and everything like that. That is halting development a lot, but just make the game right. Just make it good. Take the time that you need and make a good game. That to me, that's more important. I'll wait. I'll be patient. It's aggravating, but I'll be patient. But just make a good game. You know.
Yeah, gotcha,
Man,
gotcha.
you are the truest of consumers, man. You will stick by these companies when they do you wrong. Um, nah, that's not okay. It's a whole year. These games have been in development prior to the pandemic. Hopefully, you would think they were being developed prior to the pandemic because they knew
Mhm.
the console was coming out. So you have to have games being developed for that new console. If they are this behind, that means they never had games ready. They never were. It had nothing to do with the pandemic. They just wasn't ready. And that's my take. I talked about this on previous episodes, so I won't keep going on my rant. But these consoles were rushed. They were not ready. They just had to be first, and because Microsoft wanted to be first, Sony didn't want to be last. So Sony had to rush their console. And Nintendo sitting back going, I don't care about none of y'all. So yeah, I
Well,
think
Yeah, they
that
is that true? Because Breath of the Wild was delayed as well.
a game was delayed, not the entire year of games. There's a difference. A difference.
interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to slide in the middle here, guys, and kind of have a mixed reaction to it. Um, and I really don't know how I want to break this down. Well, I'll just say I'll start off with this. The bad part of it that I see is that, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I was watching the Dreamcast guy. He's this YouTuber, and he actually brought up a point that I was gonna make, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And I think that this, I think that unfortunately this will, at least in my opinion, have a negative effect with PlayStation, just because they can look at this now and with their upcoming PlayStation Plus tiers, they can be like, oh yeah, well, we definitely don't have to consider the day one releases or doing that anytime soon. Which I knew they were already arrogant and probably weren't gonna do it anyway. But if let's say Xbox has some really big surprises that were like coming out of nowhere for a 2022 release, that could have helped put a little bit more pressure on on PlayStation to maybe start considering it and really really be seriously consider it instead of kind of like as an afterthought.
Hmm.
So I think that it's kind of like what Dreamcast guy said in his video is that it makes him, he thinks it's gonna make him lazy, and I actually agree with that. I agree with the fact that this the news like this for Sony or PlayStation, they're gonna relish in it, like, oh man, yeah. So even though we're suffering from shortages, we're gonna have stuff coming out that people are gonna gravitate to. So we still maintain that edge. So yeah, I think it's unfortunate with that, but now on the plus side, I think that it really, I don't know if it really would affect them as much considering how popular Game Pass is.
Yeah.
And if they have indeed a lot of lineup that's coming for 2023 to make up for it, and people are willing to play that long game, because that's what Game Pass is really, is a long game.
Yeah.
If people are willing to stick with that, then I think if anything, they're going to grow a bigger appreciation for it, for the
Mm.
delays, because not only are they hearing the delay is happening to ensure that they're getting quality products, or at least that's what the game Microsoft wants you to believe anyway.
Dang.
Well, I mean, I don't say that negative. I don't want to just assume that that's the case, and
Yeah.
corporate, me and corporations, man. You already know.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yeah.
so, but in the end of the day, as much as it stings, like you said, kid, if people like you would have that viewpoint of, hey, the delays are going to be a good thing because they're going to get it right or work harder to get it right, and then we're going to get some amazing lineups for 2023.
Yeah,
So
and it's kind of like you said. I'm not too worried about it because I know they have that Game Pass, and sure they might not have any first party titles they might add to it in the next coming months, but I know that they're gonna be keep throwing out these big third party games to add to it. Um,
mhm.
and so I'm definitely looking forward to that, and and that's a good advantage that they have because it's like they can almost kind of sit back as just like a straight up publishing house and just say, okay, you know what? We're okay. We don't have any of our new games because, hey, we'll throw out some money. We'll buy, get the license to put this game or that game on Game Pass and just sit back for a couple months or so and do that. And another thing that kind of keep in mind is that this year might be dry for them, yeah. Uh, but the merger should probably, hopefully, maybe be complete next year with Activision Blizzard, So these dry spots, I think they're not going to last too much longer, especially if that acquisition does go through.
And you actually bring up a good point. I think I was thinking about earlier. Because I was and quite honestly, guys, I was really trying to weigh pros and cons and going back and forth because I couldn't really make a conclusion either or of, oh, this is a terrible thing, or, oh, this is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And one of those things I was trying to help me decide was, okay, this could be an issue for them that backfires against them because they've got an influx of people who got Xbox, Series X's with Game Pass, and they were thinking probably, hey, I'm going to be able to play Starfield this year or whatever else that Xbox had cooking this year. And then
Yeah.
they find out, oh no, that's not going to happen. So now that might drive them to be like, well, no, I'm dropping this, membership. I don't care no more. So I was just wondering in my mind, like, is there any type of form of strategy that they need to perform, like you said, with maybe expanding on the third party support, adding
Yeah.
more third party games to the lineup, or even with the acquisitions, like you mentioned with Bethesda and Microsoft, do they work out some, since I mean, those deals are still in the work. Well, I know Bethesda, they already acquired, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they're
that's
pretty much
over
done.
and done.
Yeah, so so with Activision, I know that's still kind of in the works, but maybe they could work
Yeah.
out some kind of thing where they're like, hey, we're going to be it's pretty much set in stone anyway. So why not find a way to broaden our game access
Ooh,
with
yeah.
that? You know what I mean? Like just have that kind of discussion with them to say, hey, you're coming onto the team. Why not go back and look at some of your really hot titles to put in the Game Pass? And I think, contrary to what maybe some people may think, that would really boost the value of Xbox, the Game Pass.
VP, that's actually a good point because something we didn't get a chance to talk about yet is the fact that they are still having their Xbox, game showcase. Even though E3 isn't here
Mhm.
anymore, or this year anyway, Xbox is still going to have a little showcase next month. Um,
Let's
and
stress a little showcase.
oh, dang, this man right here. But you made a good point, BP. Because what if they had the showcase and they were like, "Hey guys, so we're buying Activision. Here's all these games on Game Pass from Activision." You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Since they don't have anything coming out this year like that, that'd be pretty epic.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I would have to believe a little bit that they get some form of success from the EA Pass being included.
Oh yeah, it is included. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
y'all
yeah.
keep falling for the digital downloads and stuff all you want. Let your internet go out, and that Game Pass means nothing. I like them to make games that can be on physical discs so that I can actually play my games even without them being, online. Like I just kind of don't think that this is the best technology right now, but we can't really trust them at all.
Especially with unreliable connections and DRM issues. So I
Yes.
get you. I get what you're
Hey,
saying.
hey, if my internet goes out, that's a bad time, and just in general.
Hey man, the sun has been acting pretty crazy as of late. So those I'm not gonna even get into that. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna move on.
Hey, man, you
I'm
had
not
me
gonna
interested,
have the
man. You
doom
gave me
and
a little
gloom going on
teaser.
right now, man. No doom and gloom. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, we do got plenty of that in the world, so I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be that much worse for it to be
Yeah.
part of the conversation.
Hey, I want to be the lighthearted guy. I want to make people laugh.
Oh man,
Gotcha. Well,
but Star, you just made a good point about our other topic, and that is the let's just say raving success of Overwatch 2.
dripping
People
with
are just
sarcasm.
loving that game, aren't they?
Some are actually, but there's a lot out there, a lot of people out there who aren't.
Yeah, there's very mixed feelings on it.
Yeah, I would say so.
A
So
lot of people felt it was very lackluster because if you've been playing Overwatch 1 for how many years now? About 4 years, maybe?
It's been a while.
it's been around. Was it 2016 it came out or something?
Oh, shoot, about 6 years?
I
Yeah.
think so. I want to
So
maybe I'll double check that, but I think it came out in 2016 if I'm not mistaken.
so if you've been playing or watching people play Overwatch for the last 6 years, and then you wanna take a look at what they're doing with Overwatch 2, and you're basically still looking at Overwatch 1, the excitement level just goes kaput because it's nothing new. Yes, you have new gameplay with new game mechanics. You might have 2 or 3 new characters. You might have a PvE mode, but it's the same exact. So there's no excitement if you already been seeing this the same exact game for the last 6. So I don't know. They should have been doing a lot more with the graphics. They could have been changing the art style or doing something to make this game stand out as being a upgraded game or a new standalone game instead of making it feel like it's a DLC.
Yeah.
Got you. And I was looking at some of the screenshots, like you mentioned about the visuals, because there's like a lot of screenshots that are being shared on Twitter, for example, where people are doing side by side comparisons between one and two. And yeah, I mean, it's as I'm looking at it, it does look very strikingly similar. I didn't even
Yeah,
see any of this stuff, but yeah, I
it's
mean, the
Yeah.
lighting is different, but it's still essentially the same map.
the ray tracing is the only thing that's different, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. What were you gonna say, kid? My bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I don't see the need for a full sequel on this. It just seems more of like this could have been an update that they pushed
Thank
out.
you. That's what I
Uh,
was saying. Yeah.
and just especially since it's already a live service game, you know what I mean? So they already have so they've been adding characters and maps and stuff like that. Like all they had to do was just push out a visual update, um, and add these new modes and stuff like that. Like it's just unnecessary, honestly. Especially since it's just so confusing because it's not much different from the original. It's just kind of like that in between. Because I think you can still play with people that have Overwatch 1 or still play Overwatch 1 or something like that.
I did not know that. Wow,
Or
that's
Right.
crazy.
something like that. Because I remember when it first was announced and I was like reading up on it, I was like, wait, what? Like, so what's the point? Like, why?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually. I mean, this conversation can get really deep with this stuff, man. You know, because I know that's what we were going for with the whole sequel idea. Like, with Overwatch, is it really a sequel or is it 1.5? But
Yeah.
it's kind of like you said, kid, with it being just really unnecessary given what we've seen. It just makes me wonder if, like, because I'm sure companies kind of do these studies and they run these surveys and ask players. I just kind of wonder if they kind of feel they need to add a two to these games, like Destiny 2, for example. Because some
Yeah.
could argue that it was pretty much essentially the same thing, but they just had to slap a two on and I guess change it up quite a bit to justify it being part two. But I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
mechanics and stuff and everything was still pretty much the same, and people kind of were, at least from my
well,
perspective,
they
I still was
broke.
hoping that they would have continued with Destiny One just because it was so well, at least I thought, well done, and they could have just
Yeah.
added to it instead
Yeah,
of
I
making a
said
whole new sequel.
they broke Destiny when they made Destiny 2 in the beginning because those shaders that was taking up all my inventory space.
Oh yeah,
That
oof, that was
that, that
bad.
was just ridiculous,
That
man.
was
That
terrible.
and then they added the I can't remember that store the something verse um oh this
Oh,
is
the Eververse.
Eververse.
Oh
When they
right, yeah,
added
yeah,
that
yeah.
store, I thought that, oh, this is gonna be kind of cool. There was nothing cool about that. It's like, and I also wanted to make sure that I'm not misleading the listeners because with Overwatch 2, they did change the maps. So they made the maps more open world, I guess, in a sense, where you can
Mm.
have more options. You're not being controlled down a certain path. You have more options to be able to flank and everything else. And there's some better ideas in Overwatch 2, but they could have just done all of that with Overwatch 1.
It's really
It's
interesting, especially when you look at it's coming from Blizzard and like, you look at their biggest game, arguably World of Warcraft, and it's like, for years people have been clamoring for like, hey, where's a
Hmm.
WoW 2? But
Hmm.
their philosophy is we don't need a WoW 2. We got World of Warcraft. We'll put out a couple expansions every 2 to 3 years or whatnot, and just
Hmm.
keep providing updates. I mean, that game has been around over 15 years now at this point. So
Yeah.
it's just odd to me that they already have a model like that works, that people still buy and play and still makes them money. So why they wouldn't just do that exact same thing here? Like, don't make
Mhm.
quote unquote Overwatch 2. Just have
Mhm.
Overwatch next level, and sure, maybe charge 10, $20 for it, because you have new substantial content, but it's just a weird choice all around. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
They need to
Yeah.
go back to the
It,
drawing board. Aren't they saying that they are looking into people's complaints and like they seem like they are really listening, even though they technically did not listen at all?
well, so because what one of the things I wanted to look back at is because you know I know the question does come up often why like Kid mentioned about World of Warcraft working with its formula, so why do they feel the need for sequels for anything else that could stand to have the same focus or the same process. I know, like with Destiny, for example, they were pretty much under contract originally with Activision
Activision,
to put
yeah.
out sequels, which I didn't know that originally. I know when they first announced Destiny, they were like it's a 10-year project, so I'm thinking, oh,
Yep.
kind of like World of Warcraft, where they're going to just expand it. But later on, I found out, oh no, they had to furnish sequels.
Yeah. All the way
So
up to
that
Destiny 4.
yeah, yeah. So it just makes me wonder because, like, because I know I had some people that in my life that said, "Hey, no, I actually wanted to get a sequel," and I just kind of was like always wondering about, but why? Like, I don't, you can build off that game because the game is amazingly popular, especially with the Taken King release for Destiny 2. I mean, I'm sorry, Destiny.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just thought it was a great model that they would continue on, but then that sequel hit, and it's just like, oh, that killed. I mean, mind you, they got it back now, but it just to me, it just seemed like a whole lot more work when they could have just built off the first game and kept that player base strong.
Yeah, what
Um,
was the stand? What stood out for me with Destiny was that there was technically no game like it. Like when I played Destiny, I'm like, oh, this feels different and it's still fun. Overwatch, there's many types of games like Overwatch. So you feel like they may want to change it up some so they can stand out from the other games,
mhm.
but they didn't do anything with two that makes it stand out. They kind of made it seem like they are dividing their own player base, and I don't understand that kind of mindset. Why would you cause a rift in the people who have been supporting your game from day one?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I mean, and I know some people would arguably say they've been kind of doing that for a minute, even with Overwatch 1 with the later updates. You know how they were changing up some things so much, so many times, and people were just getting kind of tired of it. It was like, why do you keep switching up like the classes? Because then they had originally had what 4 different classes, right?
Yeah, and they grouped them
And
back
they
into I think like what is it now?
3.
Five? Is it five? No, it's like
Well, yeah, because
Don't
you
y'all
have
play
like the
this game like
tanks,
every day?
huh?
Don't y'all play this game every
Yeah,
day? Y'all should
well,
know
hey,
this.
well, hold on,
hey,
because it's
it's
you have the tanks, you have the DPS, and then you have the
the healers,
healers. Yeah, but before you had tanks, DPS, defense, and
defense.
healers.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying like maybe because I knew around that time people were really just getting upset, and other people were like, why? I mean, they're changing it up for the better, and it's like, is it for the better, or do they have some kind of agenda behind this that isn't sitting well with the majority of players, but maybe it's doing well with the esports crowd or something,
It's all about esports, and that's been the focus that I think Bungie at one point was trying to do with Destiny 2. I'm like,
Yeah, that
nobody buys a game because they want you to watch them play on Twitch and have it on esports. People buy games because they want to sit in the house and play online with their friends or with their
Mhm.
family. Don't make the focus on esports. That's
Well,
Yeah.
no, don't do
well,
that.
I will say a lot of people do. Esports
Mhm.
are
It's
huge.
popular. It is a popular
It's
Let me
thing.
tell you how popular esports is.
okay.
It's so popular that they have to pay people some crazy amount of money just so they can keep that whatever foundation of what esports is alive and afloat. So they tank so much money into keeping that little thing that they call esports running. That yeah, they need it to stay alive. It's so much money poured into it. That money could be used to making better games. I'm just saying, man, no one cares. I know you saying people care about esports, but no, it's like any other sport. It's the players and the athletes and the pros that really care. The casual player who outnumbers them, we just want a game to play.
Mm, that's kind of a that is a very I don't know, that's a very interesting topic, honestly, too, just to kind of, because I get what you're saying on that too. It's like, at least for me, like I know esports are very popular. With whether you're talking about Overwatch or like Street Fighter, for example. I mean, my goodness, that's a huge deal. But like I think with at least Street Fighter, it could be argued that they don't design that game solely for the esports in mind, right?
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of that could be kind of a good example to use in in regard to saying that hey, you can still do your esports thing, but you don't have to model the game for that. Like you can just it can be like a welcome addition to a game that people just enjoy playing in general.
Yeah,
Because I
I
mean,
agree.
Destiny learned that. Destiny too had to learn that the hard way. Like to Star's point, they did the esports thing with the 4v4, and people were just furious about that. It's like no, like yeah, we get the esports thing is cool, but we are your fan base. We want the 6v6. Like you have to make that change, or we
Yeah.
just are not gonna play it.
I
So
just went online and look up, and I'm correct. So they
oh,
spent over $16 million in esports scholarships to target U.S. colleges and high schools to get students involved in this thing. They are going out their way big time to keep this franchise, if you call it that, I'm not sure, running. It's a bubble and it's going to pop it. I think it already popped, to be honest with you.
well,
But
definitely with that division, I think part of
yeah,
it anyway. They had dissolved part of that division. I think.
and they can't let it just go out. They got too much writing on it, but they don't understand that if they keep trying to focus on esports, they're gonna destroy so many good gaming ideas because those gaming ideas aren't gonna make money to keep the esports afloat. I think they need to focus on just the games. It shouldn't be about sport. My goodness, it's gaming. It's like I'm not going to knock it for people who think some games can be considered a sport. I just feel like a sport to me is a physical thing.
Mhm.
I just think that the new generation growing up, they're being raised to call certain types of gaming a sport, and so that's a new thing. I'm not part of that generation, so I'm not gonna knock it. But just using common sense, you're not actually doing any type of sporting anything when you're playing a game. It's just not. It's not a thing.
Uh
Dang.
oh.
It's not a thing. You're
Oh,
holding
there
you're
it is,
holding a
man.
controller and you're playing the same game I'm playing at home. So it's not the same thing. The only difference is they created a system where you can make money for your reason for playing. You can make money out of it versus me just doing casually. So
Ooh, I don't know if people are gonna take too kindly to that, but hey, you
uh,
know what?
I
I get
mean,
it though. I get it.
hey,
I get what
the
you're
truth
saying.
hurts. I understand,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
And
Kid, you want to
it's
say
not
anything or add anything? Because I think I had a couple thoughts I want to add. Hopefully, I don't forget
uh
by the time though.
nice. This one right here. Uh yeah, kind of what you said earlier, VP. I think it's always best when companies design the game and then the esports community just forms around it rather when they specifically design the game for esports and then hope people like the game as well. I never like that approach. I'm just like make a game and then if people like it and it's competitive, then let it just form naturally. So I
Mhm.
never like that approach.
Yeah.
And I agree with Star with maybe the Overwatch esport league might not be as big as maybe it was a couple years ago. But esports as a whole is still massive. I mean, if you look at Dota 2, League of
Oh
Legends,
yeah.
I
Oh
know
yeah.
Valorant is the new hot, you know, cup of tea right now. So
Those bubbles, man. There are bubbles.
oh dude, I
I know
don't
they've
know.
been around for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dota 2
for
League of Legends, those esports championships have been years and you can make a lot of money by winning those
that's my
things.
point. They are okay. I'm trying to make this make sense from out of my head out to my mouth. They are big because they're putting so much money into it. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, they are very big because you can make money, and just with anything with making money, it gravitates people towards it. But for me, sitting down looking at somebody playing esports, eh, it's a bubble. You can't. Not everybody's gonna always stay. paying attention to that. There's other things in life more important than somebody on the controller doing something in a game. It's just I know they're trying to get us into wanting to be that kind of person and think the next Michael Jordan is somewhere in esports, but it's just weird. That's just me. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
not.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
but I think there's more that goes into it too with those individuals that are highlighted in the esports scene because, a lot of them carry a certain charisma. And you can argue that the companies do that intentionally too, but you got other people who are just, flat out YouTubers who kind of be in those scenes too, that
About
they
making
got
money.
prominent. Well, they got prominent from their own kind of personality though, you know what I mean? Because a lot of it comes from personality more so than the actual gameplay. They just happen to resonate with them because, oh, they play this game that I like too. So I think that's where a lot of that popularity comes from. But um, to go off of what Kid was saying too, like I love how you brought up the idea, like you said, about it being a natural thing that companies need to look at when developing games
Yeah.
around just the love of it instead of like focus on the esports. Because another thing I will say that it does esports is if they design it that way and then it attracts to the esport scene for God help any like you said Star, God help any casual gamers that come in and want to try the game out because then they got to get met with a bunch of like get good and oh, if you're not in this to take it serious, then you shouldn't be playing this game. And it's just like, well, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? And that might be a turn off just in
Hmm.
general for games. Like I think, and honestly, that can kind of cause detriment to the gaming world because if you think about it, let's say if you just play every once in a while, or you come back to gaming after so long, you know what I mean? Because maybe you got a little more time freed up, and all you run into is people who are like want to be esporters or just people you see on YouTube or whatever just out there just like yeah if your whole mission isn't to get good in this game then what are you even doing here over here. And I know that it's the idea that they have this mentality because that's how they play, but when you're effectively putting it out there in the general sense, that's what people are going to pull from it and they're like, well, look, I don't have to play all that, you know what I mean? Like
Correct.
it's not like the game that I remember from back before all this, where it was just simply me plugging in and playing, maybe playing with some friends. Now it's just competition, competition, competition. Get good, get good.
And then
Um,
here's the other thing, not to
so
cut
that
you
could be an
off,
issue.
but we came across this so much in Overwatch. You have certain Smurf accounts of people who just they have ways. Here's the thing: I won't call them cheaters because I don't know exactly what they're doing. But if you get so good in a game where you can understand every single type of exploit and you can kind of like count frames, it reminds me of playing poker. And let's say you're playing professional poker. It's frowned upon if you count cards. It's frowned upon when you do certain things to cause you to have a head up, well not a head up, but have a better chance at winning the game because you know how to manipulate the cards. A lot of these esport players, they're not good because they're great. They're good because they know how to influence and exploit certain type of weaknesses in the game. You don't notice it because you're not as good as them to do the same thing. So they are doing some crazy moves in some of these games. And it's not because they're good, they just know how to exploit the game. So what kind of referee system are they like putting into esports to make the game fair for people who want to play and still have like a competitive edge?
You
But
know,
wouldn't you?
it's funny. Go ahead. Go ahead, kid.
I was gonna say, wouldn't you classify that as being good? Because part of the game, is having that understanding of, well, what goes good against this, or if somebody does this, how do you counter it? It's
That's different.
it's like,
Countering
but it's
is
like chess, right? Like to be good at chess, you got to know and think three, moves ahead.
Anticipate
You
the
got to know,
moves. Yeah.
yeah,
but
you got
see,
to know what somebody's gonna do.
yeah, you're missing what I'm saying. I'm talking about exploiting, not just knowing the game, but knowing the actual weaknesses in the design of the game. Because again, games are not perfectly made. Chess itself is like been around 1,000 years. It's technically a basic game that you can then use your own, logic to figure out how to outsmart your opponent. In some games, you just can have somebody that knows how to just button press a certain way. That's not outsmarting. You just know how to manipulate that exploit in the game against somebody else. It's a lot different than chess or comparing it to an actual physical game like football or basketball. And there's a lot of other variables that makes you good versus someone else. Ex- You know, but esports in certain games where there's loopholes and broken mechanics, or characters that's a little bit off balance. There's a lot of things that can make it not technically a sport, but just more of just people who know how to exploit things. And that's just me.
Well, all this conversation now, actually, this is actually a pretty good deep dive to really discuss or to look into more. I mean, I don't know if we'd have the time to look into it now,
Yeah,
but
it's like
it could
way
be a
after.
nice, yeah. But I mean, it's a
Yeah.
definitely, well, yeah. But I mean, it's definitely a good insight to what maybe the next episode's topic can be, where we can kind of discuss the idea of being really good at a game. Is because you bring up good points about the exploitation versus just being very skilled at the game because you memorize the maps well or something like that. Because as an example, just as a little quick thing, that when you were talking like that, it kind of made me go back to the days of like Halo or Killzone, where you had your players that were really good, and I wasn't nostalgic, I was pretty good too. But one of the things I hated was how people exploited spawn camping.
Yep.
And I remember hearing that about like people making that argument that, well, I mean, they're just good because they memorize where people spawn at. That doesn't make them exploitative. And I'm like, well, actually, it does, because what chance do people have that come in to try to do something or put something together as far as offense or defense when they're literally getting gunned down as they pop up? And I knew that's what a lot of people would rage quit in certain games like that, because it's like, and other people be like, you just mad because you're not as good. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean as good when all you literally did was find out where people would spawn at, to kill them? So yeah, that just brings up a good kind of interesting deep dive to look into as far as what classifies a great player, like, you know what I mean? Like, could we still consider that a person a great player that finds those exploits and takes and use it to his advantage? Or do we simply rely on calling a great player someone who just has the natural skills and ability? Like they can be put in any situation and just make do with the odds.
And you've seen that happen in Overwatch. It's certain maps. Some of those players are just perfection. They know how to take you down, take them to a map that they can't exploit. They are
Mm,
not good at all. So
mm.
it's not. Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
interesting. It's interesting. No, but you bring it up like, because I never really gave it that much thought. Like I always kind of just imagine, like, at least, and I'm not saying this to say for every gamer and how everybody should feel the same way, but like my definition of a great player, even for myself, I hold myself to the standard that I was somebody that, or I saw myself as somebody that, if I can adapt to the gameplay, like if I get dropped into a Call of Duty map and I could go around and take people out, not really even not really knowing where I'm supposed to be going, or, where the good, hideout spots are, or, little windows to go into for good sniping abilities, like I was learning everything on the fly and then, racking up kills that way. So I would always deem that as great, whereas somebody else may like look at it like, no, that's just you running around like, a chicken with his head cut off. Like you got to have a strategic plan. You would have to literally go into this game and play like in the offline modes to learn the maps well, to find out all the different advantage points and where the turrets are put up at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always kind of looked at it like, well, I guess that can still be considered good just because you spend that amount of time to learn those things, as opposed to people who really don't either have the time or care that much to do so. But it does beg that question of what exactly would deem that player to be great. Like, do we accept all different aspects, even the exploitations, or do we just simply rely on the natural abilities or your willingness to learn the locations and mechanics of the game?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't know how to sway either way. I mean, I would sway more towards the issue I'd have with exploitation, like you mentioned, because I absolutely hate things like spawn camping. Like man, I would definitely have left the game in a heartbeat when
I
that
have.
happened. Oh yeah, I was not, because I mean I'm not gonna sit there and just die like 15 times in a row, and then you sit there and hear you talk trash like you really did something.
Exactly.
It was almost as bad as coming across people who, mind you, like if we play on, team battle games or PvP, and they'll sit there and talk all this trash like after their whole team came to help them and to kill you. Then it's like, oh hey, yeah, get good, noob, and it's like, but you didn't do anything. Like everybody else did stuff,
Yeah. I'm not a
like
fan
that
of the
stuff would
whole
aggravate
bullying
me.
either. Yeah.
Well,
That's
yeah, I didn't care about that. It was just like the idea that you put yourself on this pedestal when you're really not that great. Like you had people help you, which is fine, but don't make it seem like you did everything. I call it the like Tom Brady effect, where it's like, oh, Tom Brady is the greatest player ever, which I'm like, okay, cool, but what about his team?
Yeah,
Like he can't do nothing if his team decide all to walk away and let him get sacked over and over. Like, how good is he
exactly.
going to be then? So I just
Exactly.
hated that mentality.
Phenomenal.
Like, yeah, sure. I mean, we'll see. That's a challenge to the people who play with him. Like, just walk away and see how well he gets down and see how that turns out.
I
Hey,
mean,
they want
he
that
run the
ring on
whole
their finger
team.
too. They ain't walking away.
I know. I'm just look. I just look. You know, and I don't mean no harm by it. Like, I don't have no issue with the guy or nothing. I just hate how people like to do that, where they're just like this one man is like, among all. You know what I mean? Above all, where it's like, oh yeah, he's clearly. You know what I mean? When it's just there's so much that goes into making a person great, not just them.
Yeah, like
So
LeBron James and Kobe and Michael Jordan. Yeah, they
yeah.
can actually hold the whole team down themselves.
But even that's debatable. Like, I mean, they can't like if there's nobody else on the team, it's just 1v5 or something. Nah, that ain't happening.
I can honestly say I witnessed Michael Jordan hold the whole team down. Like it's crazy some of the things he used to do back in the day.
Oh no, I'm not taking nothing away from those players, dude. Not at all. Like they're great, phenomenal athletes and players that are right. But I don't know. Like for example, like there was Pippen with Jordan.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you know what I mean. So it wasn't necessarily just Jordan doing everything. He had people he can dish the rock out to. And
There's one
they
particular
made things happen.
game. There was one particular game. I may have to go on YouTube and see if anybody kept it alive on some type of on the channel. But Jordan handled the whole team on his own. And I have to find it. I don't remember the details, so I'll leave it alone till I find it. But that was a crazy moment as a kid seeing, witnessing. So
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
but
But-
again, it's not something that someone as an athlete in a team should have to do. It's a team sport. Everyone should
Mhm.
play their part, but sometimes you just gotta say, you want things done right. Gotta do it yourself.
Yeah. So it's just interesting though. We might can hopefully go more into it. I know we kind of went a little over, but maybe for the next episode we can go more into it.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, I think that's about it.
yeah, man, I think so. Nobody else has nothing else to add or anything. We all good. We got our frustrations out, Star.
No, not even close.
Oh, okay.
I have not had the same. I haven't have the mindset right now to really vent the way I want to about this
Got you.
PS5. So yeah,
Got you. So you just getting started.
it's kind of.
Oh boy.
Well, hopefully, we'll have some better news for y'all out there about Star's situation with the PS5. I'm really hoping anyway. By the way, I never even went into. I meant to add more into the DRM issue where I was experiencing frustration with GTA. I haven't been able to sign in for
Oh
a few days now,
yeah,
so just kind of add into that whole frustration of not being able to access a game that you know
paid for,
that you got. Yeah,
put time in. Yeah,
yeah. So, but hey, whatever. Maybe that'll be for the next episode. I'll probably update y'all and see where that's at.
Oh, you will. Don't worry.
Yeah, especially when it
Especially
comes to
that.
Rockstar. Oh yeah, I probably
Oh,
got
buddy.
it. Should we? I wonder if we should do that next episode, man. Should we share that story I had?
I mean, I
You might
think
as
I
the
might have
well.
already
audience
done it
know.
actually. I
Yeah,
might have already done it. I have to go back and listen to old episodes, but yeah. Well, okay,
Whatever.
well, all right, fellas. I think that's good, man.
I think so too.
Time to get some food and get some sleep.
indeed. Kids
All
gonna
right,
like send
y'all.
us. Oh yes.
Oh,
What?
he was too excited about the sign off, man.
Oh God.
You didn't hear that kid?
Alrighty.
He was just like, "Yeah, kid's gonna sign up. Yes,
Yeah, I see that. It's been
food. Time to go
excited.
eat."
Well,
Yeah, man. I
well,
can't.
thank y'all everybody. Thanks everybody for joining us to listen to us ramble for a couple of minutes. As always, we appreciate you.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, I
Let's get
apologize,
it.
y'all. But I want to say that after the recording is over, I still need to tell you my theory on the multiverse of madness. I
Oh, that
think I
should be
know
fun.
what they're doing. I'm gonna leave everybody else out the loop so we don't have to put the spoiler. So,
Dang.
but
Yeah.
peace out, y'all.
All right.
Alrighty.